Okay, Jim, we're good to go.
All right. Good evening, folks. I'd like to call the Taneytown Planning Commission and joint meeting with the Taneytown Design Review Board to order. George, would you like to lead us in the pledge to the flag, please?
I will. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Let the minutes reflect the members that are present. Barry has turned in his resignation. Is I think moving to Frederick, so we're going to miss him very much. As far as members on the Design Review Board, I have Harmony, I have Judy, I have the mayor, I have myself. I do not have Gail. Is Gail on somewhere? Okay.
I did not hear from her that she was not able to attend, so I'm not sure if she may be having some difficulties or not, but we do have a quorum, so.
Okay. So let the records reflect those members that are here then.
Yes, sir.
Also like to remind everyone that is Virgil.
Jim, you cut out on us.
Anything?
There you go.
So I don't know what would have happened. Okay. What I was saying about this is a Virgil meeting, and if you'd like to participate, the public, you can do so by dialing 1-800-309-2350, and the conference number is 237-7193. The Planning Commission members should have received the draft minutes of October 26. Is there any amendments or approval or additions to those minutes? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I move we accept those minutes.
Okay, George made the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Judy second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of accepting the draft minutes of October 26 signify with thumbs up. George, Judy, Olive, Jim, myself. Looks like it's unanimous. Thank you, folks. At this point, let's move into the Taneytown Design Review Board discussion on the addition to the Taneytown Liquor Building addition. Jim, would you like to lead us off? Then we can maybe, Audrey, if you can pick up, or not Audrey, but Harmony, if you can pick that up and go from there.
Okay. Well, as you guys know, the site at 226 East Baltimore Street is within our Old Town district, meaning our design standards do apply. This is kind of an interesting case because the existing building at 226 East Baltimore Street, which most of you know is the former Sheets site, is not particularly of the architectural character that the city is really hoping to emulate or preserve through the design standards. Be that what it is, we still want to make sure that what's being proposed to be added onto the building fits with the building and doesn't do any harm or stand out too badly with the surrounding community. So it's really about compatibility with the existing building that the addition goes on and with the district immediately adjacent to it. So this is a very unusual site in that obviously the building itself is much more modern than many of those around it, but it is across the street from another gas station from an Exxon station. It's next to Taneytown Bank and Trust, which is a more traditionally styled building. It's also adjacent to Antrim 1844 Country House Hotel and to a converted, I'll say 1910, 1920s era home that's been converted to a dental office. So it's an interesting little surrounding area, each of the properties with its own style. So that's what we're looking at. And it's a very, again, it's not really what the guidelines were uh, put in place to protect necessarily, but again, they still do apply. And we're really talking about compatibility as much as anything else. So with that, I'd be happy to turn it over to Harmony, or if anyone from the Taneytown Liquors team would like to uh, provide any commentary to start things off. I think now would be the opportunity for that.
Jim, I do have one question. In the picture that they gave us, do you know if they're using the same color materials? I know they're using the same type of siding, but are the colors going to be what is currently there? Do we know that?
I believe the colors are to match what's existing, but I think I'll be better suited to turn things over to the Taneytown Liquors team.
Okay, who would that be?
That would be us. Thank you. Good evening. Kelly Miller here on behalf of Taneytown Liquors. I have with me a representative of the owner, and also on the line you'll see separately is Randy Bechtel, who's done the site plan work, and then Dean Camlin, who's done the architecture work and who prepared the elevations and visuals that were attached to the packet that was submitted to the design board. So we are here happy to answer any questions that you have. Jim, thank you very much for the introduction. It's been pretty seamless working with staff, so we appreciate all of the help in getting this application submitted tonight. As Jim stated, this is a unique site in that it is a more modern building that's just within the purview of the Old Town Design Standards. So when we took a look at it, and Dean can certainly speak a little bit more specifically, but when we took a look at it, we were really focused on compatibility with the existing building, which is what the design code or the design guidelines call out for additions to buildings. So that was, you can probably tell just by looking at the visual that was the intent here, but I'll let Dean speak more specifically and perhaps also address your question about the color and whether that will match the existing building or not as well. Dean, can you jump in?
Yeah, certainly. Thank you, Kelly. And yes, the intention was for the materials that the addition will be finished with, that they would match the existing metal fascia that runs along the top of the existing building. I didn't really see much use in trying to match the painted brick in the addition. It seems like the addition really can have its own compatible identity that relates to the existing building, but doesn't. How do I put this? Doesn't go too far out of the way to try to look like it's been there since the beginning.
Okay. Anyone else with any comments or opinions?
Yeah, I got one question on it. Or with the waiver, and maybe I'm too soon to be asking this question. On the waiver, do we have any control over the lighting? Because the lighting was way out before.
I think you're beyond the scope at this point. I mean, we're talking specific, unless they're adding lighting, I think we're beyond that scope.
Okay.
That would fall under the planning.
Okay.
I think if I can speak for myself and Design Review Board, I think they've done a nice job of complementing the existing building using the materials. I don't find that the pitch is offensive in any way. I think overall it's a very good addition to it. And whenever the design review board is ready, I'd be happy to make an appropriate motion for that.
Is there anyone else would like to make comments? Jim, anybody calling in or anything?
No, we don't have any callers on the line besides myself.
All right, George, you had a question?
I'm just making a comment. As I look at the picture of the east view of the picture that's been given to us, it looks it looks like exactly like the old building. But yet I understand that the color is not going to be quite the same. The picture would look like an exact duplicate of it.
Well, the color's going to be close. Isn't that what was just said? To try to match it up as close as possible?
Yeah.
Even though it's going to be metal, right?
Yes, that's right.
Looks fine. I like the appearance of it.
Okay.
Chairman Parker, would you like a motion from the design review board that we can wrap our portion of this up?
Yes, very much. If you would go ahead, I'd appreciate it.
Very good. Well, I'd like to make a motion that the design review board, excuse me,
Bless you.
approve the design as presented to us with no additions.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second that.
That's okay. Second by Harmony. Any other discussion?
And just
Okay.
to clarify, this is for the design review board to vote on,
Right.
not the full commission. Okay.
Right. It would be Gail, Harmony, Judy, the mayor, and myself. So with those folks, if they're in favor of that motion, signify by putting your thumbs up so I could see them. 1, 2, 3, and Gail's not on. 4. Okay. Those opposed, likewise, and Gail's not here, so it carried. Thank you. All right.
All right.
With that, we'll move on with the delegation and action items. With the first one being the Taneytown Liquor Building Addition, request for a waiver of site plans. Jim, you want to start us out on that?
Sure. As we've seen somewhat regularly lately, we have a proposed project that does not, it triggers the site plan ordinance, but it does not trigger most of the reviews that would be incorporated in that site plan process. So we're looking at a disturbance that's small enough that it's not going to require any stormwater management, no erosion or sediment controls, and no grading permit. So being that type of a project, and also no subdivision or additional city infrastructure. So without ticking any of those boxes, there's really not much that the site plan review process is going to achieve beyond the simple site plan that was submitted as part of your planning commission packets this month. So there won't be, were we to go through the site plan review process with this and send things out to all the review agencies, we would be getting back an awful lot of no comment letters. So rather than go through that exercise and have the developer incur the additional expenses when we're not going to really get any comments that are going to change anything, it's eligible for a waiver. So we've seen this several times over the last 6 months or so, and here we have another one of these projects. So waiving the site plan approval process really just enables them to come in and apply for a zoning certificate based on the simplified site plan that you see before you this evening.
Okay, if we grant approval, can we put any conditions on this? And maybe I need to lead into what I wanted to bring up. With that, the driveway that goes between East Balmer Street and Devanian Road is part of that property, correct?
Yes.
Well, there's some things that I gather was missed or just not taken care of during the last renovation. when the Taneytown Liquor took that over. There's 2 signs at the end of that little driveway as you enter to Vanion Road that says Sheets on. I think that's an issue that should be handled. There's also 2 light poles in that same area that are broken, and some of them are hanging down. That's not only a safety hazard, that should have been part of the original renovation, either removed. I don't recall if they were on the plans or not, but it looks like they should be removed because there's lighting from the bank side and lighting from the parking lot side on Antrim. And then the last item, there's weeds that's about 4 feet tall that's been there all summer and a lot of litter. Who's responsible for cleaning that up or at least mowing it to meet the town ordinance? So that's the 4 items or 3 items that I'd like to have some consideration before we grant a waiver.
Okay. Well, okay. Some of those items are things that really should be addressed under city code in general. So the sheet signs, they really should be taken down regardless of what's happening with the building addition, because Sheets is no longer at that property. So, and I'm sure they were just overlooked by all parties. But the city code does require that that when the business stops operating, the signs are supposed to come down. So I'm sure we can make that happen regardless. The other things, because there wasn't any change to the building or the site relative to Taneytown Liquors moving in, they did not come before you, I believe, for a site plan because they weren't building anything new. All they did was basically a tenant fit out building permit to switch from the convenience store to the liquor store. So there wasn't anything at that time that would have triggered them coming before the planning commission. So some of the lighting issues and things like that really are just site maintenance questions. And, those, I'm sure we can work with the owner to have them rectified. I'd certainly be happy to hear from the Taneytown Liquors team on any of that, though, if they'd like to offer any commentary.
Would someone like to address those items?
Yes, it's me again, Kelly Miller here on behalf of Taneytown Liquors. We can certainly address those concerns. We can take down the sheet sign. I understand, Jim, that some of that might just be handled under the normal code, or however, but we can absolutely take care of those concerns. Removing the sheet sign, taking care of the weeds, working on controlling litter, and then the broken light poles that Mr. Parker pointed out as well. So that's not a problem, Mr. Parker.
All right, thank you. Appreciate that. With that, is there any other questions or comments? Jim, anyone?
I know Ollie was starting to comment about something with the lighting earlier.
When they first opened up the last time, or the lighting got so much brighter. It was like Jim Parker even brought it up, how bright the lights was. And we just need to keep the lighting down in the town and not disturb the people that live close by. That's all.
Okay, not hearing anything else. Jim, do you have a comment?
Just was going to follow up on the lighting. We did reach out to Miss Miller and Taneytown Liquors with regard to the lighting when they first installed some wall packs around the building, and we requested that they eliminate the wall packs and provide more down lighting instead of just the more kind of indiscriminate lighting that was originally put up. And they voluntarily, complied with that. We didn't have to do anything official. We just asked and they took care of it. So they've been certainly, taking care of what they need to.
All right, thank you. Okay, I'll entertain a motion if anyone would like to make one.
I'll make the motion for a waiver of site plans for the building at Taneytown Liquors.
Okay, is there a second to that?
I'll second that.
Second by George. Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, thumbs up, please. I got George, I got Judy, I got Ollie, I got Jim, and myself. Okay, it looks like unanimous. So thank you, folks. And that takes care of that item. Next item on the agenda is the Meads Crossing Phase 2 and B plaque revised construction drawing clubhouse. Jim, would you like to start us on that again?
Sure. Well, the preliminary plan I was mentioning before the meeting started up came in right after the packets went out last month. So it's been here for a while, but this is your first shot to, have them before you as a group. So we typically do present the preliminary plan at a planning commission meeting. And I know the preliminary plan is currently under review. So we'll be getting comments back to Randy and Steve on that. I know some have already come through from county agencies, so that's underway. Also, the phase 2. This is a little bit peculiar. Carroll County has assigned a new file number to the phase 2 section B plats and construction drawings, and part of this is the county Bureau of Engineering, their review. They want to see the Angel Road plans incorporated into the phase 2 section B plans. Initially, that was a standalone set of drawings that we really were kind of just letting the county steer that because it's a county road and they weren't part of the actual construction drawings for the city streets and the city infrastructure. So now they're going to be merged into a single set of drawings for what we normally look at as far as construction drawings and what had been a separate set of plans for the Angel Road improvements. And the Planning Commission will probably remember very recently with the Taneytown Crossing project, we had a very similar format with that where there were Harney Road improvements, and that was one set of drawings, and then there were site plan drawings that provided all the details on site. For whatever reason, this is being looked at differently, and the county wanted to incorporate the Angel Road plans into the full set of construction drawings. So after talking with Development Review, it seemed as though it would just be less confusing for all parties if we went ahead and just went through the process. There's really nothing that has changed as far as the construction drawings, aside from a couple of things that we've talked about that we were going to treat as red line changes. We were going to move a couple stormwater inlets relative to the clubhouse and swimming pool entrances, and change some stockpile location relative again to the clubhouse swimming pool area. And those were going to be red line changes to the construction drawings. But now, since we've got this incorporation of Angel Road, we're going to have a new set of drawings to sign. And if we're going to be asking Chairman Parker to sign drawings, we need the commission to be there, for there to be a vote to approve them before we get to that point. So the construction drawings really are essentially the same thing that you saw months ago. It's just now we've got the road improvements included in there. So it's a little unusual. It's not something we've seen before with the county, but it sounds like it's going to give them more clarity and help it get through the process with less confusion. And I'd just as soon go along with that so that we don't run into something when we're getting ready to start construction and, permits are applied for and the plats are going to be recorded. And then we find out that there's some confusion or some issue relative to them not syncing up completely with the construction drawings. So I guess you could just say this is following the path of least resistance, and hopefully it will pay benefits in the end by not having any confusion once we get everything approved. So Probably a longer speech than I needed to make, but I hope that summarizes things.
Okay. Anyone have any comments?
Can
I
I
know.
ask a very strange question?
Good, Judy.
And this could be Steve or Ed. I don't know who would answer this. I'm looking at the plans for the pool and that, you know, that whole area. Is there any spot that they've got marked out that I just haven't noticed for an area for bike parking?
Steve or someone would like to.
They both look like, oh, I don't know. Is
Did we catch someone off guard here?
Steve looks like he's
No, I've got bad network reception.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, Steve, I can Steve freezing on us.
One.
Sorry, Steve. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. If you can repeat, Judy.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just curious if there was any areas designated for bike parking. Seeing as how it's a community pool, I assume, you know, there's a certain amount of parking spots, so you'd probably encourage the kids to bike. But you know, if there's no spot that's set up for it, I just can imagine bikes all over the sidewalk, and you know, I was just curious.
Yeah, it's a good point. And Randy's on the line. I would ask that I don't, and I think you're right. I don't think there is a specific area incorporated.
Okay. Right.
So, but it's certainly something that we should add.
Okay.
Okay.
I agree.
That was a good question. That was a good question.
Yay.
It's a good, great question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone else have anything? I know I guess it's been a while back. I asked about some buffers being put along Angel Road, and I didn't see them on the drawing anywhere. Is that something still that could happen?
Yes, and they should show on the landscape plan in the package, because we did agree to them. And
Okay. I must have missed them. I went through quite a few of those pages and I just couldn't find them, but if they're there, that's fine.
yeah, it was our intention to plant those areas, and I am 95% sure that planting is shown, and I'll verify that afterward.
All right. I think Jim's checking that now, but
Yeah, let's see.
while he's looking, does anyone else have any questions or comments? I had another thing as I was going through it. How come we're getting more sewer water than we are charging for water? How are we picking up? Are we picking up storm drain? In a new development, we shouldn't have that much leakage. There are like 7,000 gallons difference. Am I looking at something wrong?
Are you looking at the EDU box?
Yeah. Like there was like the sewer was like 102,000 and the water usage was like 95,000. Are we still there, guys?
Yes. Sorry.
Okay.
Just trying to find what you're referring to.
It's the tabulations for I think the whole complex.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I see what you mean for the totals. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, is that what am I not seeing?
The figures for the pool are different. I'll delve into that.
Okay.
Be in a comment letter.
All right. Thanks.
Yep. No, thanks for pointing that out.
Okay, does anyone have anything else in reference to Meads Crossing? Okay, not hearing any.
Okay.
Then we'll move on to the next item.
Right, we'll continue on with our review, and hopefully it won't be too long before we're back looking for approval for the clubhouse and pool, and hopefully we'll get all the comments and get the Angel Road stuff all straightened out with the county and be back before you in the not too distant future.
Yeah, so Jim, one concern is, I think, we are actually building 2B as we speak.
Mhm.
And do I need an approval to make sure we're okay with that from the Planning Commission?
Well, I don't think that, and I've been in touch with our engineers on this as well. Since I think the only place where there's risk right now is with regard to the Angel Road improvements.
Okay.
Because that's a piece that we hadn't really delved into. We were letting the county steer that on their own before. And since there haven't been any changes to what was approved as far as the city infrastructure, everything's still on target with that.
Did that answer your question, Steve? That must have been. Okay.
And see, we'll check, Jim, because I know we agreed to, and I've seen. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. All right. Moving forward. Planning and zoning report, Jim. Anything that we didn't cover already?
No, we've pretty much hit everything that was in my report. Of course, I mentioned in there how many new homes we had.
Yep.
At that point, we've gotten 11 more since then. So there will have been 15 for November, and there's going to be 6 more as of tomorrow. So December's starting off with a group of townhomes in Meads. So things are still moving along. Shall I jump into active site plans?
Yes, please do.
Okay, the Parks and Rec Advisory Board has been meeting regularly, and they've been spending a lot of time and putting effort in on the Bollinger Park plan. So they've come up with some additional ideas to incorporate into the preliminary plan. There's going to be some things like a pollinator garden, some, I guess, sort of whimsical sculptures, and an additional side trail that weren't on the concept plan. So they've kind of fleshed out the concept with some more details and some more features that the Parks and Rec Advisory Board has come up with. So they're really putting some time in on this one, and I think we're going to be getting a preliminary plan before you fairly soon. And it's good to see that project really starting to make some progress. Let's see, we've already covered Meads Crossing, and Meadowbrook continues to chip away. They had a number of single-family homes issued this month, and Section 6 should be, I believe it's through the recordation process now. And I know Mr. Hall's eager to get going on the infrastructure for as much as the weather will let him, since we're approaching December now. We'll see what they can get done before it gets to be mud season. And let's see. That is about it. Taneytown Crossing is moving along. Haven't heard a whole lot about that other than a concern that they fenced in a fire hydrant. And I did hear some concerns about construction starting early in the morning on Saturdays. So we do need to look into that. But otherwise, it's been relatively quiet on that one. And that's really about all that I have for updates.
Okay. Did Jay give us anything?
I did not hear from him. I expected to see him tonight, but I guess he was not able to log on. So I do
Okay.
not have a report from him.
All right. George, you had a question? I can't hear you.
George, you're muted.
George, I cannot hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Thumbs up.
Jim, going back to the Bollinger Park, you remember in the very beginning, the new house that was built up there along the back of the farm. He came in and reminded us about a fence and people walking all over his property without a fence. Whatever became of that remark, that comment?
I don't think anything has been solidified. I know a fence was discussed, and we can certainly make sure that we incorporate something along that boundary area, because we really don't want people wandering onto other people's lawns or the dairy farm for that, the adjacent farm for that matter.
Well,
So
you have a house
we can
all
create
along.
some kind of an indication of the boundary, whether it be a solid fence or something just to denote the boundary.
Yeah.
We'll be able to pick that up on the site plan, right, Jim?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay. Cody, you have anything for us?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Nothing too much to update you on. Just that we are continuing our comprehensive rezoning process, and we will have a meeting before the commissioners. That is a public hearing this Thursday, December 3rd. So anyone who wants to make their comments heard, just sign in on our website, carrollrezoning.org, and tune in Thursday night. And that should start to wrap up our comprehensive rezoning process for the commercial and industrial areas. And that's all I got for you tonight. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Cody. All right. Going around the room. George, you have anything for us?
When's the next meeting night?
December the 28th. I have it as it should be. Any reason why not?
I was just wondering.
Okay. It's December 28th.
If it looks
December
like we have
28th.
a quorum, we can block that in. I know oftentimes we push that meeting back a week, but if everybody's willing.
If let's say if we have something to bring up, we'll know maybe 2 weeks before that.
Mhm.
We'll
Yeah.
go that route. Okay.
Yep.
Mr. Glass?
Got nothing.
Okay. Jim LaFavor? Okay. Judy? Okay. I do want to say downtown looks great with the Christmas lights, if that was your doing.
Thank you. It's almost done. I have a couple more things to do down there, and then we'll get started in the park.
Okay. I guess no one waiting to call in or anything, so I'll not hearing any.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So move.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, all those in favor signify with thumbs up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, thank you. Thank you, folks. I hope it went a lot smoother this evening with my extra mic.
We heard
Yep.
All
Very
right.
good.